Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. This is episode 6. If you're watching, you see that I am solo. It is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on Fantasy Ace Ball. We were supposed to have Doc with us today, but unfortunately, he couldn't get away from work. As he so noted, the communication at his workplace is terrible. And if you didn't know, Doc works for the federal government. So, to anyone who pays taxes and is not happy about it, are you surprised? Sorry, Fed. Anyway, if you're watching, you can see I'm docked out. I'm decked out in my Angels gear because my son played T-ball last spring for the Angels. Different team this year, but last year he was on the Angels, and I always coach. So as a coach, I've got some team gear, and so I've got my Angels shirt, I got my Angels hat, and we are talking about not my son's T-ball team, but we're talking about the real Los Angeles Angels. And I don't know, maybe my son's T-ball team has better prospects than the real Angels. I'm not sure about that one, but here, if you are watching, you could see my top 20 Angels right now on the board, and we're going to talk about these guys starting from the bottom. Number 20, Nate Snead, starting pitcher. And so what we're going to do, as I'm solo, I have to do all this stuff myself and talk at the same time, which generally John is doing the gadgetary mouse moving type stuff as I'm talking. So bringing up Snead here, Mr. Snead. No, not Kirby Snead. We have Nate Snead. So Nate Snead, off to a stellar start here. Can't even bring the guy up on the thing. Nate Snead was a draft pick this year, and the reason we can't bring him up is because he did not play in the minors yet. So Nate Snead from Tennessee, third round pick, 105th overall out of Tennessee. He was a reliever at Tennessee. And from what I read, they're going to try him as a starter. Some really good pitches, iffy numbers in college. But I think Snead is an interesting guy. So Mr. Nate Snead is our number 20 prospect for the Angels. We'll go back to this thing now. Number 19 is shortstop Capri Ortiz. Capri Ortiz with the Angels is number 19. So Capri is in high A, 20-year-old at high A. This is a guy that we can actually pull up on the thing. So bringing up our statistics here for Mr. Capri Ortiz. A lot easier to do this when there's two people and you can kind of move things around. But let's get back into the share screen here. If you're watching, if you're listening, you're like, come on, Tim, let's move it along. Capri Ortiz, the F scores, there they are. They're up. So you can see a 103 hit tool, 92 power, 91 discipline, 123 speed. So there's a little bit of hits here, a little bit of speed here. And one of the things to keep in mind is that the top 20 among these teams is not equal. You can't look at the top 20 Brewers or the top 20 Pirates or the top 20 Twins and compare that with the top 20 Angels or the top 20 Rockies. The number 19 guy is not equivalent across the board for every team. Some teams have a lot more depth than others. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about these guys here. So good old Capri. You can see we got him up right now. Things that we like. 73% contact rate is all right. We could see here that 8% walk, 20% K is basically standard, like nothing special there. But he's an interesting guy. He does pull the ball, which brings his quality of contact up a bit for having decent enough angles, pull hitting, and he's a switch hitter. And he also has a good amount of speed, 27 steals with only 6 caught stealings on the season. So there is a decent bit amount of speed here for Capri Ortiz out of the DR. Number 28. Number 18 is another pitcher. It is Jose Fermin. And let's see. I think we were talking about another Fermin yesterday, and there were 2 of them. There's only one Jose Fermin in the system, and he rates really, really great on the F scores here. If you're watching, you can see a 137 F stuff, a 139 F control, a 99 FERA, and he had a 2.25 JAERA on the season. So you might say, whoa, this guy should be ranked like way higher, right? But keep in mind, Jose Fermin is a relief pitcher. That came in 17 relief appearances, 1 start at AAA this year and AA this year. And then he also, if you haven't been paying attention to the Angels because they're not that great, he's been in the majors a lot of the season. 40 appearances in the major leagues this year, but still only 34 innings. So still he is only a prospect. Way too many walks in the majors, 15% walk rate in the majors. So that control did not translate from minors to majors, obviously. But you could see multi-pitch guy, throws 98, fastball, slider, sinker, mostly fastball, slider. So kind of your classic relief profile here. But this is why he scored so well in the minors. A 31.3% swinging strike rate on that slider in the minors and a 15.2% swinging strike rate in the majors. And just for some giggles here, let's look at what he did in the majors on those swinging strike rates to see how those translated. So pulling him over here for his major league statistics. And no, wrong Jose Fermin. That's the hitter. Sorry. As we look him up here, Angels, Jose Fermin. And on the four-seamer in the majors, only an 11.3% swinging strike rate. And the slider at 19.2. So still very good swing strike rate on the slider. One of the better sliders, really. Really good percentiles across the board on the slider. Fastball's okay. And he only threw the sinker 1% of the time in the majors this year. But obviously, command was not there in the majors. So that's Jose Fermin, relief pitcher, as the number 18 prospect for the Angels. Number 17, Sammy Natera Jr. Sammy Natera Jr. Let's pop him up real quick. Sammy Natera Jr. made it up to AAA this year. And again, it's another relief pitcher. So here we go with the Angels. All their guys are going to be relief pitchers. So again, not every system is built the same. So, oh, look, we've got 2 of them here. That's great. We got one with 1M and one with 2Ms. He goes by 1M. So Sammy Natera, if you're looking for him, it's a 1M Sammy. 117 f-stuff, 94 f-control, 95 FERA. You might say, dude, why do you have Natera ranked ahead of Fermin when Fermin was actually in the majors and Fermin's f-scores are way better? Well, it's because Natera actually has higher K rates and also still walks way too many guys. Like in AAA this year, Natera, 23.9% walk rate, but he still had a 37% K rate. So he still ended up with a 13% K minus walk and a 17.3 K minus walk across all levels. Natera's also a lefty, so lefties are fun. And fastball slider, you can see he did not have the same amount of swinging strike rate stuff on these pitches. Fastball is not as good as Fermin's. Slider, 85.7 average velocity is very good. So really good velocity on the slider for Natera. And you can see he kills lefties, 208 JERA against lefties, 366 against righties. So just a couple of relievers here with the Angels as we make our way through the system. Number 16, Samuel Aldogeri. Even though he's been a starter, he probably also is going to be a reliever in the majors. So I believe he has debuted in the majors, and all his appearances have also, I think, been in relief. I don't think he's made a start in the majors. He did debut last year. Oh, actually, yes, he's made 3 of his appearances in the majors have been, or 2 of his appearances in the majors have been starts, I think. This is just this year anyway. He had 3 starts last year and a 0% K minus walk rate in the majors last year. So while he started all his games in the minors this year, 24 starts in the minors, he did pitch out of relief for the Angels. So I think long-term, he probably is a reliever, not a starter. Even though the F-scores really like him, he's always had pretty good numbers in the majors, especially in 2024. 2025 is kind of meh, really a step back. 2024, he had a 23.3 K minus walk rate across all levels. He was with the Phillies, got traded in the same trade as George Klassen, who we'll talk about later. And then this year in the minors, 9.2 K- walk. So pretty terrible for Samuel Altajeri. So most of these guys, like unless you're in a 30-teamer, you probably don't care about any of these guys so far, just to be quite honest, because that is the Angels system. So let's bring back up the thing here. And you can see that we're going to now talk about starting pitcher Chris Cortez, number 15 on the list. Chris Cortez, bring him up right now. Second rounder in 2024 out of Texas A&M, and he pitched the whole season in high A. He had really good numbers at Texas A&M in 2024, 23.4 K- walk at Texas A&M, but this year in high A, he had a 16.4% walk rate. So the Angels obviously are terrible at teaching command to their starters and to their relievers. They really need to work on teaching command. 5.8 K- walk. So again, Angels, a lot of these guys, I don't know, but Chris Cortez does have a pretty nasty fastball. Again, kind of like a fastball slider guy. So again, unfortunately, he is probably going to be a guy that ultimately pitches out of the bullpen instead of as a starter. So here we go, Angels. Great drafting. And F scores, let's bring him up on the F scores. They hate him. Chris Cortez, remove that, add this to the stage, boom, boom, boom. 90 F stuff, 81 F control, 107 F ERA. So, stay away is what the F scores say, but he does have a good fastball, and he was good at Texas A&M, so maybe there's something there, but part of me just thinks that the Angels ruin everything they touch, so that's maybe the problem. Number 14, let's get to a hitter. Too many relievers, right? Let's get to a hitter. It's shortstop Joshua. And for whatever reason, this guy reminds me of like a Star Wars character. His name, every time I see it, like Jawa. If you're familiar with the Jawas from Star Wars, Joshua Lugo. So let's pull up Mr. Lugo here real quick. If we can, we cannot, because I think he only played in the DSL. So yes, we cannot pull his stuff up on the tableau pages. Complex only this year. Complex League 271, 375, 372 slash. Good for a 102 WRC plus, 2 home runs and 1 steal on the season. And he only played in 35 games. So that is Mr. Lugo for you. Last year in the DSL, he had 18 steals, 5 caught stealing with 5 bombs, and a 118 WRC plus as a 17-year-old. So he had a really decent DSL season, kind of like an okay complex season this year. Obviously, some injury there that we don't really have any information on. And the Angels system is not great, which is why Lugo is vaulted all the way up here to number 14, despite being injured and kind of like so-so numbers. Number 13 is another hitter. It is Denzel Guzman, shortstop. So let's pull up Guzman here. Denzel Guzman. Here he is. We actually have a guy. There's Denzel Guzman. F scores actually like him too. 104 power, 100 hit, 97 discipline, 99 speed. So profiles is a nice replacement level player, which that qualifies you as almost a top 10 prospect in the Angels organization if you can be a replacement level. So a lot of people know Denzel Guzman because he did debut this year. 13 games this year at the major league level, though he wasn't very good at the majors. 51% K rate. So it struck out more than half of his plate appearances out of 42 plate appearances. So that's very, very terrible at the major league level. But in AAA, he did hit 247, 343, 426. So okay, AAA numbers. His exit velocities are quite terrible. 101.3 90th is bad. 107 max is bad. 88 average is fine. So whatever reason, he has a decent average. Sweet spot percentage is killer. 40.5% is really, really good. So that's going to help him. Even though his contact rates are below average, 72% contact, 80.8 zone. The reason his hit tool is a 100 is that this sweet spot percent right here means he gets, and this average EV of 88 means he gets good quality contact. So this is a guy who's probably a doubles hitter. He's probably never going to be a home run guy because these max and these 90th are bad. Launch angles are good, though. So good angles and good sweet spots and good average exit velocity. So when he does make contact, he actually does make pretty good hit contact. despite like below average contact rates. So kind of an interesting cat here. Guzman, 14 steals, 3 caught stealing in the minors. So maybe he could have a decent batting average with like 10 bombs and 10, 15 steals as like a utility player for the Angels at some point. That's kind of how I see Denzer Guzman, as the F scores basically have him as like league average player, more or less. So that's okay. 21-year-old who made the majors and his league average is not terrible. So that's actually a decent player, especially in a deep league. Let's get to number 12. That is Trey Gregory Alford. So let's bring him up. Trey Gregory. Everyone has to have 3 names nowadays. Alford. Oh, sorry, he's a pitcher. That's why he's not popping up right now. I knew that. I was just in the wrong tab. Sorry, folks. So Trey Gregory Alford. Here we go. Mr. Trey, 94 stuff, 89 control, 105 FERA. That's below average. 460 JAERA, which is Sierra, is also below average. But I think the thing is, he's actually going to be a starter, unlike a lot of these other guys who are like destined for bullpen roles because they can't throw the ball in the zone. At least Trey can not walk the world. He has a 10% walk rate on the season, which is okay. As a 19-year-old who was in complex and A-ball this year, as a guy who almost got like a $2 million signing bonus out of high school last year when he was picked in the 11th round. So they kind of sniped him. Probably a lot of people thought he was not going to sign that far, but they gave him $2 million out of the 11th round. So that's a lot of money out of that round. But he did only have a 10.6 K minus walk on the season. So despite him actually throwing strikes and having a decent command, besides like an 89 F control, is it's still below average, but it's better than a lot of these other guys. I think that there's maybe a starter's profile here or there for Trey Gregory Alford. So that's the good news, as he projects as a starter right now. So it's a lot more that can be said about the other pitchers that we have discussed in this organization thus far. Let's now get to number 11. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Here we go. Number 11, outfielder Rowdy Rodriguez. This guy had like one of the best seasons in the minors this year. The only thing to keep in mind is he is older for the level. So that is something that John and I are working on, another tool for basically it's going to be WRC plus league or age adjusted per level. So I can't wait till we get that tool ready, but that's going to be a pretty sick tool once we have it. But you can see here, Rowdy Rodriguez, 22 years old in A-ball this year, but had a 111 power, 100 hit, 96 discipline, 121 speed. So good tools, but you just have to remember age to level. Maybe it makes him more of like an average player, but he hit 281, 373, 470 with 14 bombs. So good stuff from Rowdy. He was also like a T10 guy, which I do my top 10 prospects of the week every week. And he was a top 10 guy a number of times this last year. 38 steals, 6 caught stealing. So 14 bombs with 38 steals. That's pretty interesting stuff. 11% walk rate, 23% K rate. So he doesn't strike out too much also. So that's another good thing about Rowdy Rodriguez, and pretty decent angles. Like really like average angles, really like 21% line drive, 41% ground ball, 38% fly ball. That's like almost at like complete league average with like a 39% pull rate. That's like just straight up average angles. You see a 69% contact rate. So he's getting most of his opportunities here by just being a good athlete. And maybe the fact that he's older for the level is helping him and boosting him. And when he gets to a different level, he won't be as good. But he was really good this year, and that should be noted. Rowdy Rodriguez, A-ball outfielder, Angels. Let's get to the top 10. Number 10 is Dylan Jordan. Pull up Dylan Jordan here. Dylan Jordan. And I know I'm going into every single player more than we do with, there's 2 of us. But you know what? I'm solo, and that's what I'm going to do because we don't have other people to bounce off of. So I might as well talk more about the guys. So Dylan Jordan, I'm in the wrong tab again. Darn it. Let's bring him up. Dylan Jordan. Boom. There he is. Dylan Jordan, 94 stuff. 115 F control. Look, finally a good control. 104 FERA. And it's because his fastball's not great. But he had a 9.4% walk rate. Yes, as a 19-year-old. So someone did it. 19-year-old and A-ball. Someone did it. They got to walk in under 10% in this organization. It's a minor miracle. He had a 17.3% K minus walk rate this year. That's very good. 13.9% swing strike rate is pretty solid. 30% CSW, also pretty solid. So Dylan Jordan, and you see a 2.99 JA We actually have a pretty decent pitcher here for once with the Angels. Dylan Jordan, name to watch, top 10 guy. Let's get to the next guy. Number 9 is going to be Johnny Slawinski. This is a guy I like too. Johnny Slaw. Let's bring him up here. Slawinski. Sorry about that, people. I am slow. Johnny Slawinski. I am not John. So Johnny Slawinski was drafted this year, 3rd rounder, and that's why he's not popping up, because he's a high school pitcher. So we don't even have the college stats on him. But Johnny Slawinski, 18-year-old, picked in the 3rd round. I watched a lot of video on all these guys when I was ranking them, but to be quite honest, I can't remember his pitch repertoire at the moment. But I did like him enough to still bump him ahead of whatever Carlson. So I should tell you something there. Let me see real quick if I can find my write-up on him for his arsenal. Sorry, I know this makes for great listening. But lefty, high schooler, 3rd round, and we are going to find his arsenal because I have written him up when I was doing my FYPD stuff. 95-mile-per-hour fastball-ish. And slider is his 2nd best pitch. And he also throws changeup curve, pretty standard projection as far as like pitching profile right now. They haven't done anything crazy with him yet. And Texas High School Player of the Year. So that is Johnny Slawinski. Sorry for the delays, but again, I'm operating solo here today. Kind of was not expecting that either. So let's now get to number 8, Nelson Rada. This is a guy who's been around for a hot minute. So Nelson Rada, pulling him up, outfielder in AAA now, speed guy, no power, terrible EVs. So like, this is not my type of guy. I know there's a lot of people who really like him because age to level, he like just turned 20 and he's already in AAA. Good hit tool. You can see 99 hit tool, 105 discipline, 122 speed, 72 power. Just terrible power. But you can see 82% contact rate, 90% zone contact. So that's a good hit tool. The reason his hit tool is only 99 is because he doesn't have good quality contact. 27.9% sweet spot is really bad. 2.5% barrel rate is really bad. 60, almost 60% ground ball rate. That's so terrible for his power. And average EV of 83.4. That's terrible. So the problem I have with Rada is I don't know if he's going to get the ball out of the infield enough to be an effective major league hitter. I know he's young, so yeah, there's a chance. Like he was playing at AAA this year as a 19-year-old, so there's a chance he develops more power. But for now, not kind of my guy. 83.4 average EV, 98.5, 90th percentile, 106.3 max is not good. 54 steals though on the season, though he was caught stealing 8 times. So keep that in mind. His stolen base rate is not that great, which is why he only has a 122 speed despite 54 steals, 2 bombs on the season, but a 122 WRC plus for a guy who's 19 playing in AAA. So I mean, like, there are things to like here, age to level, things to like. There's speed there for sure. Contact rates are great, but it's just like, I don't know if the quality of contact and like I don't know if there's gonna be enough like oomph in the hits to make him a major leaguer. Like, I just don't know if he hits the ball hard enough. So that's the biggest issue I have with Rada. I know a lot of people are really high on him and might have like top 3 in the org, but not me because I'm not a fan of rabbits. I can't believe this guy is still prospect, actually. Number 7 is Matthew Lugo. Like, I thought for sure that this guy was not going to be a prospect, but he is. So not enough plate appearances. But Matthew Lugo, 107 power, 105 hit, 86 discipline, 106 speed on the F scores. So pretty well-rounded guy here. Matthew Lugo, like, I think like he could be a good utility player. where we talked about Denzer Guzman earlier as like just a league average utility player. Matthew Lugo, I think, could be uh like a little better than league average or like a nice fourth outfielder. Like I think like Blake Perkins has had some good seasons. I mean, not Perkins. Who's that other guy? Who's he's on the Mets now? They like he was on the Brewers. I can't think of him right now. Tyson, what's his name? Whatever. I'm by myself, so I can't even spitball with it by myself. But the guy I'm thinking of, was a very, very good fourth outfielder for a long time. I think Lugo could be that. Lugo had 4 bombs in 31 games this year in the majors. In the minors, 13 home runs and 11 steals. You can see that his EVs, if you're watching, are average to slightly above average. So 88 average, 104.7 90th, 111 max, 8.9% barrel rate is good. Sweet spot 35.6 is slightly above average. Contact rates are slightly below average. So good quality of contact. Contact itself is slightly below, but there is some power and some speed here, and he's a decent player. So Matthew Lugo, being an above average potential, like maybe a starter on a bad team, maybe a really good super sub on a good team, that's okay. Let's now get to Caden Dana. Caden Dana's been around forever. This is a guy that at the beginning of the season, I was like, man, if they just let him pitch in the minors and like work his stuff out, I think he'd be way better. He's 20 years old last year. I think he's 21 this year. You see 96 F stuff, 97 control, 99 ERA. So just kind of like meh, slightly below average, but he's young for the level, 21.8 still. 338 JA ERA on the season. And we have his arsenal here. We can check out his arsenal. His slider's his best pitch. Like I've always comped him to Thor. He's got the long hair like Thor. I think Thor was on the Angels at the same time as him when he was coming up. So I'm like, and he reminds me of Syndergaard. Similar repertoire, like the slider, 19.5 swing strike rate. The problem with Caden Dana is his fastball is not good. 6.6 swing strike rate only. There's just like it's just not a good fastball. Even though his movement is okay, like a 15-inch induced vertical break roughly is okay. Like that's average. It's not great. The slider, 84 miles an hour. If he threw it like another mile an hour harder or two, this would be like a way better pitch even. He should probably throw more. He throws the fastball too much, 56% of the time. Changeup is okay, though. Look at this. Changeup has a 16.2% swing strike rate. He should probably throw that changeup more. And he probably needs to develop another fastball because his fastball is not good enough. So if he can develop a cutter or a sinker that actually plays, that would help this like subpar fastball. It would help this whole repertoire because the fastball is just so subpar. So that's Caden Dana. I kind of like him. He just has to develop a little bit more. The next guy on here we're not going to have data for is Chase Shores. I like Chase Shores a lot. He was the 2nd round pick for the Angels this year. So I'm a big Chase Shores guy. He played at LSU. He didn't have great stats at LSU. He's a reliever and a starter. And at LSU, if you're just drafting on the stats, you're going to think this guy sucks. 13.7 K minus walk rate and almost 11% walk rate. So, I mean, like we just talked about all these Angels walking everybody. So Shores falls like right into it. But they gave him $2 million as a 2nd rounder. And his stuff is like crazy good. Shores has really, really good stuff. So if the Angels don't screw it up like they have with all these other guys we've talked about on this podcast, it's actually like making me not like him as much now because I'm like, the Angels are really bad at this. so I'm like kind of like, yeah, I don't know. But I do really like Chase Shores. FYPD, I'll tell you where I have him ranked. I've got him ranked as my number 76 guy in FYPD. So I like Chase Shores decently. But that tells you, right? I've got Shores as the number 6 Angels prospect, but he's 76 in FYPD. So it just shows you kind of where the Angels system is overall. We have no top 150 guys at all yet. Only even 2 guys in this whole system should be considered within the top 150 in my mind. Number 3 is where are we? Number 4 now. Number 4 is Gabriel Davalillo, catcher. I don't know if he's related to David Davalillo or not. Let's bring him up here. John would have already found out if he was related by this point. So Gabriel, I'm spelling Garbiel it sounds like a fish, a garb. Where is he? Oh, we're not going to have him because he is a youngin. So because this system is not good. So Gabriel Davalillo, DSL 302, 408, 518 slash 132 WRC plus this year as a 17-year-old in the DSL with 7 bombs and 3 steals. So really nice season for Davalillo in DSL. And this is something I love. 84.4% contact rate in the DSL. You never see that. And he did it. He had more walks than Ks also with only a 6.3% swinging strike rate. So this is a dude who could move fast. He could be like the Eduardo Tait of catchers for next year. Maybe Raniel Rodriguez-ish for the Angels. One might hope. But then again, he's in the DSL right now, so he's like not with Angels coaches. He's with some DSL guy. So maybe when he gets with the actual Angels coaches, they ruin him. We'll see. Let's get now to number 3. That is Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson is a guy we can bring up, and it's a guy who, for whatever reason, the Angels debuted him as a reliever, even though he was like, I think he was either their first or second round pick the last year. And I don't know why they did that. And then they made him a starter and put him in the minors, and he was awesome this year. And then the weird thing, too, is he only pitched in high A. So they had this guy start as a major league reliever, then dropped him as a starter all the way down to high A, where he balled out the entire year, and then they never promoted him up again, up levels. So this progression of Ryan Johnson makes like no sense. It's almost like they started him as a major league reliever, and they're like, actually, we want you to be a starter despite good success. So he had a 7.36 ERA in the majors, but his SIERA was 3.59. And he had a 15.3 K minus walk rate in 14 innings in the majors. And then they sent him to high A and then never promoted him again. He had a 25.1% K minus walk rate in high A this year. He had a 15.6% swinging strike rate. You can see John's data is actually a little bit different than the FanGraph stuff. So I'm looking at both. His F stuff 111, F control 128, FERA 116. So Ryan Johnson actually projects out as a really solid starter. You can see he did have some injuries. He didn't play between July 5th till August 23rd, so he missed like 6 weeks from something. But he did play at the end of the season. You can see a 12 strikeout game here. Like, I like Ryan Johnson. Still not a top 150 guy for me, but a top 250 guy for sure. Number 2 is going to be George Klassen, who they had from the Phillies. I saw Klassen last year when he was with the Phillies in low A, and his stuff was insane. I was like, this guy's stuff is ridiculous, but he has no idea where he's throwing the ball. His command improved this year. So we just pulled him up on the screen. A 287 SIERA / JAERA. You can see here, 114 stuff, 100 control, 103 FERA. He pitched the majority of the year, I think all of the year in Double A, I want to say. So I don't know if he comes next year. Like, one might think that Klassen and Bremner could both be up at this sometime next year. Oh, he did finish in Triple A, so he should probably be up at some point next year. So maybe we see Klassen and Bremner. But Klassen throws the ball really hard. 97.3 average velocity on the fastball, 8.3 vertical movement. I'm actually surprised by that because that fastball looks like it has good movement. But you see an 8.8 horizontal movement. So that means that this thing moves. This is a fastball that moves. To me, when I watched it, it looked like there was more IVB in it, but I guess there's more horizontal movement in it. Maybe it's this year between last year because I saw him last year, not this year. But a 12.3% swinging strike rate on the fastball is good. Curve, 17.9% swinging strike rate. The cutter, 24.7. That's a gyro slider. It's not a cutter, but whatever. And then he's got his regular slider, which I think is a sweeper, is a 50%, but he only threw it 16 times in AAA, so, or wherever they have this data from. I think this is a mix of A-ball and AAA combined, actually, from his Phillies time last year and then AAA this year, because we've got 2 years of data. That's what the F-scores do, is pulling up multiple years of data. So I like Klassen a lot. Really strong year, really improved on the command. You can see his last few starts here if you're watching on YouTube. 7 Ks, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 1 walk, 9 Ks, 3 walks. So he had a really strong finish to the season, and I think he figured out the command. So George Klassen, you can see also the pitch counts, 97, 90, 99, 109, 89. So he's getting pretty deep. It's a good chance that he could be up early next year and be pretty good. Stuff's good. I just hope that these command games, he sticks to them for next year. Tyler Bremner is my number one Angels prospect. We can't even bring him up because he did not play. UCLA first round pick. They picked him number 2 overall. Kind of surprised a lot of people, and he's kind of under the radar right now in FYPD. So Tyler Bremner, let me give you a hint of where I have him in FYPD. I have Bremner at number 11 overall in FYPD, and he's a top 100 player for me. Really good stuff. Big time changeup. Basically developed to be a starter soon. And knowing the Angels, he probably will be. But he also had like some issues at the beginning of last season. I can't remember. It's like a family issue or something like that. And then second half of the college season was way better. And there's a chance that he was like last year, everyone was like, oh, he's the best college guy. Well, he was drafted number 2. So he was drafted ahead of Cade Anderson even. So maybe he could be. But the Angels, I just don't necessarily trust. But he is the number 1 guy. So you can see the top 20 if you're watching on the screen right now. And we're going to call that a pod with the Angels here. Oh, you know what? Let me give you a rundown of Bremner's pitches here, because I did do his write-up in my last ranking update, and I did not have that ready. So let's give me a second here. Sorry, peoples, because again, I'm podcasting solo. So he was my number 78 player overall in my last rankings update. Arsenal grades on his fastball, he throws 93 to 98. I gave him a 60 out of 60 on that fastball. Changeup, mid 80s. I give him a 70 on the changeup. Sweeper, 81 to 83. I give him a 45 with a potential 55 on the sweeper. The slider, he throws 85 to 88. I give him a 40 on it. Even though he has good velocity on it, I just didn't like the movement. Command, I give him a 35 out of 40. So I didn't really think that he's much of a command guy. But I do think that he's a definite lock to be a number 3 and has potential to be a number 1 or number 2 starter. So Tyler Bremner, pretty good value, pretty safe guy, I think. I don't even think the Angels can mess him up. So knock on wood, right? All right, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, however you consume this. This is the Prospect Warehouse Podcast, Episode 6, LA Angels. Follow me on the Twitter X machine at Fantasy Aceball. Follow on YouTube, the Tim Kanak, and subscribe to the Prospect Warehouse Pod. Subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse because that's where you can use all the tools on the Tableau page. As long as they're not DSL guys, and as long as they played some professional games, you can use those tools. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Peace out, everybody. Have a great weekend.